Hi, I'm David Mania, the Minister of Finance and Economic Opportunities in the Western Cape, and I'd like to welcome you all to this Cape Health Tech webinar. The health technology sector is an important sector for us in the Western Cape because it currently contributes an estimated 1.7 billion rand to the provincial economy and creates approximately 2,500 full-time jobs in the Western Cape. Around 40% of the top 10 Western Cape export markets for medical technology are in Africa, while Europe, the United States, and the United Kingdom are the top export markets for pharmaceuticals. And so it's no wonder that the Western Cape boasts a number of highly innovative digi-health companies. We have the overwhelming evidence that Cape Town is Africa's leading tech capital. Now we need to jointly tell the world. And it's for this reason that just last week we launched a unified tech brand for Cape Town and the Western Cape, officially positioning Cape Town and the Western Cape as Africa's tech capital. The initiative seeks to clearly represent the values, skills, talent, innovation, and lifestyle offered by the tech ecosystem of Cape Town and the Western Cape, and of course to showcase Cape Town as Africa's tech capital. This will attract international investment and funding, reinforce our brand to stimulate exports of our tech products and services, stimulate uptake of tech in our local industries, and of course raise awareness of the tech career opportunities for young people in the Western Cape. We invite the medical tech sector to join this collective and get the logo. For more information, visit wesgro.co.za. I thank you.
This past year has forced every business, sector, and individual to reimagine how they operate. So we're excited to welcome you to the first virtual version of Cape Health Tech Week. South Africa's pharma and medical device sectors are the largest and most advanced in sub-Saharan Africa, with pharmaceutical and medical device sales more than doubling in the last 10 years to reach 48 billion rand and 19 billion rand in 2019, respectively. The pharmaceuticals market in Africa is expected to grow to $45 billion in 2020 and more than 160 billion by 2024. This would represent a compound annual growth rate of more than 20%. In 2016, the Western Cape had 43 health technology firms, with 72% focused on medical technology and the remaining balance focused on pharma biologicals. It's no wonder that here, in the tip of Africa, the future of medical innovation is not only being imagined, it's also being created. And now COVID-19 has catapulted the tech sector, particularly the medical tech sector, to innovate more rapidly than ever before. With Cape Town already celebrated as Africa's tech capital, enabled by a dynamic ecosystem, we believe there's a real opportunity for innovation and future growth.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first session for the start of Cape Health Tech Week. My name is Desiree Govender, and I'm going to be moderating the first session for today, which is the Cape Government support. I think to start things off, I think the word collaboration is a word that gets used a lot, but if the recent months has demonstrated anything, it's important that the public, private, and academia sectors collaborate within the health sector. While the rest of the sessions for this week will look more into the overall Cape Health Tech ecosystem, this session will be focusing on government support, and we'll cover all three levels of government, just city, provincial, and national government through the entities represented by today's speakers. Just some house rules before we get started. Please use the Q&A function during the session if you have any questions. We'll try to cover as many of them as possible later in the session. It's best if you put it in the Q&A function and not the comment function so we can actually pick them up. And if we don't get to your questions or if you have any feedback, please email mandi@wesgro.co.za. That's mandi@wesgro.co.za. I believe we have quite a broad audience today, so I hope that the information that we cover will answer all of your questions. And to get things started, we're just going to have our speakers come up with their presentation. First up, I would like to introduce Lance Greyling, who's the Director of Trade and Investment at the City of Cape Town. Over the past 20 years, Lance has held positions in the private sector, civil society, and the national government sphere. This includes positions that had a focus on sustainable development, and he's also served in numerous parliamentary committees. There's also quite an extensive depth of experience. So I'm just going to let Lance share a little more about what he does and what the City of Cape Town can offer.
Great, thanks Desiree. Thanks for inviting me on to present today. I'll try and keep it brief because I know there's a number of speakers in this session. Just to introduce myself again, I'm Lance Greyling, Director for Enterprise and Investment at the City of Cape Town. And essentially our department holds the economic mandate for the city. And what we try and do is we work in collaboration, both with Wesgro, various sector bodies, as well as the Western Cape Provincial Government as well. So we work in a very good and tight ecosystem, and we look particularly at supporting those kind of high growth sectors in the tradable sectors of the economy so that we can both create jobs and bring in foreign exchange and increase demand for the economy. So that's the kind of approach that we take. In my department, there are 4 different units. One of them is the place marketing unit, which really tries to position Cape Town not only as an iconic tourist destination, but also as a business destination and as a great place to invest in as well. So that's one of their primary objectives of that unit. The other unit we have is enterprise development, which very much looks at SMMEs, looks at how we can help small businesses. There's also a business hub that sits under that, which gives advice to businesses and helps them navigate any kind of red tape that they might be experiencing through the city. And companies are certainly welcome to approach us, and we will certainly try and resolve those issues. So we work in collaboration also with the Western Cape government's red tape reduction unit. That's what happens there. We also have a business in distress program where we work with Productivity SA, where we help those businesses that might find themselves in distress. And unfortunately, the COVID crisis has certainly added to that. So we go out there and we try and put some kind of a business rescue process in place for those companies to return them back to good financial health. What we also run under there is the Business Retention and Expansion Program. And this we do in the various industrial areas. And a lot of our medical companies I know do operate out of some of our industrial areas, particularly like Epping. And we work with both the there and the local businesses. We do surveys to try and work out what are the issues that we can address as a local municipality to ensure that we create a more conducive business environment. So that's another project that we run under there. We then also have the investment facilitation unit, and they work with investors. We always like to kind of joke that, you know, Wesgro must bring the investors. Once they bring them to us, we'll help land them. And we will then take the investors through all the kind of bureaucracy of the city. We kind of your one-stop shop in the city that is able to navigate all of the different processes and ensure that you get a smooth landing as an investor into Cape Town. Then the last unit I should mention is the catalytic sectors unit. That one works with various sectors of the economy, looking at a kind of sectoral approach. And our approach there is also to fund various what's called special purpose vehicles. And so this would include the likes of, Wesgro is a provincial agency, but that gets funded through catalytic sectors. But also it would include other bodies like the Cape IT Initiative. And I know that part of the funding we give to the Cape IT Initiative has also been, in fact, to set up a medical cluster there as well. And I know that I think it's Bayer One that has been a beneficiary of that. And certainly that cluster is growing. So we give them money to do both skills training, to do promotion, and to do various sector work with the different companies in that area. So that kind of gives you a kind of full overview of the kinds of things that we operate in. Of course, it's just an overview at this stage, and we can drill down into the details if anyone has specific questions about that. And the last thing I should mention as well is that we also have It's a fairly modest, but it is as big as we could introduce as the city, an investment incentives program. And what we do there is that, which works at both a kind of area level, where there's 5 different industrial areas where people will qualify for investment incentives if they are starting up a new business there and are at least employing above 30 people, they can qualify for those investment incentives. But it also operates on a tertiary sector level. So for our priority sectors, and health tech would be one of those, if companies are looking to expand or are looking to make an investment into this sector and will be creating the requisite amount of jobs, they will then qualify for certain investment incentives from the city government. And those would include things such as a possible reduction in some of their electricity costs. In terms of the development charges, we can waive some of the development charges as well. And then there's various non-financial incentives that come with that as well, such as fast tracking of their processes, building plans, things such as that. So I'm more than willing to expand on those details, but I think I'll leave it here at this stage, just to say that, look, we see this as an extremely exciting sector, particularly given what we've gone through with COVID over the last few months, and we certainly see this as a sector we want to get behind. So hopefully that gives you a good introduction from my side. Thank you. I'll hand back to you, Desiree.
Thank you so much. Yes, I think we definitely will have time to get more into detail, but I'm just going to introduce our next speaker, who's Nadine Smith-Clark, part of the Export Advancement Promotion unit within Wesgro. Nadine has over 12 years of international trade experience and currently manages Wesgro's Export Advancement Program, promotion program. She brings a wealth of knowledge related to various sectors in the global market and assists export-ready companies with their export basics. Nadine's going to give a bit of a background of the program, and take it away, Nadine.
Sorry, was muted there. Thank you and good morning, everybody. I'm going to do a short presentation on what our unit has to offer. Sorry, can you all see this? Can you see the screen, Desiree?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry, and let me just go to... Okay, so I am one of the senior export managers within the Wesgro export unit. And we are obviously there to assist Western Cape companies to get their products into the global market. Most of the Western Cape regional exports as per 2016 is going into Africa, and with Europe and Americas as our traditional markets, being of the bigger ones, and then as well as Asia. This is just listing the top import and export products as we see them, which was recorded in 2019, top 10 of the import and export products. Excuse me. So the core function of our unit is really to promote exports of goods and services of qualifying companies within the Western Cape to the globe. We also focus on operation and expansion of Western Cape companies in terms of OFDIs, outward foreign direct investments, into the rest of Africa. Our business unit activities include that of facilitating business agreements, accessing to finance. We do matching with exporters and buyers in foreign markets. We assist with market research and market information, and we help with strategic collaborations and partnerships. All of this is to obviously give access to exports. We do this through outward selling missions and inward buying missions. A lot of our outward selling missions currently is being done, not a lot, almost all of them, is being done virtually and in the form of hybrids at times. We help and we specialize in advisory services in terms of foreign markets. We give access to strategic networks, and we are also promoting services in terms of marketing value-added goods and services to global markets. We offer assistance to Western Cape companies through the Export Advancement and Promotion Unit, and that is the unit that I head up. So basically what we offer there for you is training in exports. We offer 7 sessions online at the moment of export technical training to help companies to sharpen their skills as exporters. We take you to market, and we also help with sector awareness by creating understanding of your sector and how your sector will be doing in foreign markets. We offer mentorship programs, which are very popular. 2 of them. One is a one-on-one export-specific mentorship. So post completing the export training, we will assist you with very specific elements of exports if that should be a challenge for your business. We also offer international, we have a partnership with an international company called PUM. It's a Dutch-based company. And there we have more than 2,000 retired experts that will assist your company with any business-related functions that you might have a challenge with. I want to emphasize that if anybody is interested in that program, you're welcome to contact me, because currently that program is done remotely via online because of the COVID situation, because normally such an expert would come to your business. Our focus really is to, I'm sorry. We want to improve the export environment of our companies in the Western Cape and to become internationally competitive. Our function would also then be to address non-tariff barriers in terms of trade. We want to increase the demand of goods and services by the work that we do. So we identify priority markets. We look at diversification in terms of product offering and as well as access to market. We look at a diversified export basket in terms of more value add for goods and services in order to be able to become more competitive out in the global market. Strengthening our export promotion mechanisms, we use B2Bs, where we set up direct meetings for you with buyers. We make use of trade seminars, exhibitions, etc. And we also, like I mentioned, strengthen your export activities and your company as an export company through our EAP program. We engage our top 100 Western Cape exporters as a focus, as well as work closely with our export councils and industry bodies. We grow the exporter database through retention, expansion, and developing new exporters for the globe. These are our focus sectors for the Western Cape. And as you can see, health tech is very much one of those. And I want to, just as a short, emphasize that if there's anything related to exports that you need, whether it is introduction to a new market, getting yourself ready for a new market, market research, training, then we are the unit that you are most welcome to contact. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nadine. And as mentioned previously, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A box and we'll try to get to them as soon as possible. And we'll hear from you again a little later. Our next speaker is Rashid Tofi. He is the Deputy Director General for Economic Operations in the Department of Economic Development and Tourism in the Western Cape Government. Before joining this position, Rashid was the Managing Director of MCI in Africa, which is the world's largest conference and association management company with a presence in 60 cities around the world. Also, notably, he served as the CEO of the Cape Town International Convention Centre and has worked extensively in the travel and tourism industry, both in South Africa and abroad. Rashid, I'm going to hand over to you.
Cool. Thank you, Desiree, and colleagues, Lance and Nadine and all of you. Well, lovely to see you. And I see in the attendance register a lot of familiar faces as well. Faith and Pauline and Ilse and John, welcome everybody. It's good to be here today. This is such a key, this sector, it's something Steve Jobs said quite famously in a speech many years ago, that the interface between biology and technology is going to be where the future is. And I think all those interfaces are what is crucial in the world. The tradition of one sector just striving out, trying to solve the world's problems is not how it's going to be done. And so bio and tech and tourism and tech and, trading along with something else, all these interfaces for me are so crucial. And in the post-COVID world, it becomes even more important. So I've got just 8 slides, and I just wanted to briefly say, I think it's no surprise to everyone what economic shock COVID has had. It's a disruption of supply chains. It's just generally uncertainty. Thank the Lord for the new US elections going, I believe, in the right direction. I think it's just generally creates stability in the world, and at least one of our major trading partners has a sane person at the helm. That helps. And then, of course, there's been a lot of forced production drops, and all of you out there who come from the sector must be struggling, and we feel you. And what we hear about today as a team, and this group of people who are here today, both the panel, some of the panelists and some of the other people, are all just, we're a collaborative team, because that's what it's going to take. We cannot react to COVID-19 as one and everyone staying in their same lane. So I have a little bit of a focus on what I think the importance of SMMEs are now. Apart from, it's kind of obvious that SMMEs are the most labor absorptive way that we can rebuild post-COVID, but SMMEs are also a key, they're key to the value chain or to the ecosystem that make up the health tech sector. Yes, there are large corporates out there creating fantastic R&D, but often it's the SMMEs on the ground that really drive this. And so one of the roles that we play as the provincial government is to work with the City of Cape Town, with all our municipalities, and with agencies like Wesgro and TIA and BioVac and other agencies around the country to support the Cape Health Tech sector. I think it's kind of obvious, some of these things. The regulatory environment for me is probably one of the biggest ones that I feel we need people like yourselves who are in the sector to speak to us and tell us what is your stumbling block. So when we try to solve problems for the tourism industry, just to give you an example, or someone who's running a major film shoot, you need to tell us that we're having difficulty getting a permit, or we're having difficulty getting this product through the port. The more you tell us, the more specific you are about what your binding constraints are, we can help you do that. We can help you take those barriers out of the way. So just briefly to give you a sense of how we reacted as a department to COVID-19, we did everything from per spaza, almost at a spaza shop, small business level. We provided safety toolkits. We tried to support the PPE supplier network. I'm not sure if anyone here from the health tech area has had the benefit of being in that part of the value chain. And now we're doing a lot of direct COVID relief work. Millions of rands has been reprioritized for us to be able to support businesses that have struggled. We're supporting businesses via the chambers, doing digital seminars, and a number of other things. This just gives you a snapshot of what we've had to do. But after COVID, we need to get back to the more strategic things that we do. And for me, the health tech sector is it's strategic. It was always strategic, but even post-COVID, you see the importance of the whole pharma industry as well. So what we'd like to do is to facilitate the opportunities that exist within the provincial government, public entities, and the municipalities via procurement opportunities. And by that, I mean, how do we ensure that Western Cape businesses, small businesses, benefit from the kind of spend that's going to be happening over the next couple of years in the health tech space? How do we make sure that we include SMMEs, we include previously disadvantaged communities, Black communities, women-owned businesses in this value chain? I think that's very important. And then I've always thought when I speak SMMEs, SMMEs are a key building block, as I said, to the life and to the lifeblood of large corporates. And we're not only supporting small businesses, but we support large businesses to work effectively into our procurement systems as well. And so I think this is my last slide. There's various ways that we do this. We have a district approach. So we're not talking about just Cape Town. We're going to work through the municipalities, through the chambers, through various support agencies to make sure that the Western Cape government's help and all its different departments reach the district. So far-flung areas I was in B2 on the weekend, which is right on the Eastern Cape border, looking at what innovative things large businesses are doing that can unlock job creation. And we remain on standby to make sure we reach our feelers go out into all those areas. We're doing various capacity building programs, skills programs where we unlock CETA funding. I'm sure a lot of you know that you can access that, but maybe you don't know how exactly to access that pool of money, which allows you to get an intern into your business paid for by the CETA fund, just to give you an example. And then we give digital support, tech support, and various other financial and non-financial training and assistance. We're generally trying to make sure that this SMME ecosystem works, and it needs to work to make the health tech area function. And then lastly, this is actually my last slide, is the regulatory environment. As I said, it's so important not only to be reactive to what you say, but for us to proactively say, how can we look at what are the consistent binding constraints, what people call the red tape, and make it easier for you to do business. So we remain on standby to work with you in breaking down the regulations, pushing for a smarter Western Cape. We've always spoken about smart cities, but the whole of the Western Cape needs to be smarter and leaner and be able to get things done quicker, so that you guys as the business community can thrive, and we create that cliched enabling environment for you to function. So that's my brief input. So back to you, Desiree. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rashid. Our next speaker is Salman Kaji, the head of Invest SA, the one-stop shop in Western Cape. Salman has over 12 years of international business development experience, and he's instrumental in the facilitation of foreign and domestic direct investment to the Western Cape province. He's previously headed up Wesgro's investment promotion unit and was responsible for coordinating the agency's efforts in securing an estimated 11.6 billion rand worth of direct investment during his time. And Salman, I think if you want to say a few words, give us some background at the one-stop shop, and we'll share some video content after.
Sure, thank you, Desiree, and to the organizers of this event at Wesgro, and importantly, the guests in attendance today. Thank you very much for allowing us the opportunity of presenting our value proposition to you. So before, I've got a video that I think encapsulates the Invest SA one-stop shop value proposition and service offering. But just before we get into that, maybe just some background and some context as to the relevance and the birth of the one-stop shop. So if you look at Cape Town and the Western Cape over the last decade or 12 years, you'll note that from an investment perspective, we've always had a very compelling investment value proposition. So a good example of this is in about 2016-17, Cape Town's investment branding was ranked in the top 20 or 21st, according to the Financial Times Foreign Direct Investment Markets. However, what's always been lacking or lagging at the national level is our ability to commercialize or facilitate investment based on the regulatory or bureaucratic regulatory environment in South Africa. So a good example or a good indicator there is the ease of doing business. So in 2008, we were ranked 32nd in the world. However, in 2019, October, the World Bank downgraded us to, and we slipped down to about 84th in the world. So, while countries like Mauritius have been getting their act together from a facilitation perspective, for South Africa over the last decade, it has been becoming a lot more onerous. So what happened at the national level is that the presidency and the DTI decided to get facilitation up to the same standard as promotion, and therein was the birth of the one-stop shop. And the one-stop shop is really a collaborative effort of 14 national, provincial, and local regulatory authorities, when we try to fast track or expedite regulatory approvals. And really, as I think all of my colleagues have said previously, this is about collaboration in the investment ecosystem. Lastly, it is funded by the Department of Economic Development and Tourism, provincial, the City of Cape Town, and the DTI. So I think with saying that, and without further ado, I think the video probably says it best. And at this point, would like to hand over to Desiree to play that video. And of course, I'm available during the Q&A session should you wish to take up any opportunities. Thank you.
The Invest SA One-Stop Shop, or OSS, it's never been easier or faster to invest in Cape Town and the Western Cape, South Africa. The OSS cuts through red tape and streamlines the investment value chain for medium to large-sized companies looking to invest in the Western Cape and South Africa. And for the ease of doing business, it's all done from the convenience of one building, which means we act as your centralized contact point as opposed to you dealing with a multitude of government departments in different locations. The OSS has made great strides fostering a better business environment in Cape Town and the Western Cape, making the investment process as seamless as possible. Most importantly, by enhancing Cape Town and the Western Cape's image as one of the globe's most investor-friendly and competitive destinations in which to do business, the OSS is also helping to unlock economic value and job creation across South Africa. All of this is made possible through working with national, provincial, and local government to provide key services to investors, facilitating the investment value chain, providing specialist advisory services, coordinating effectively across various line departments, acting as a facilitator to fast-track registration, licensing, and permit approvals, providing market intelligence to investors, including incentive schemes, providing a roadmap on how to improve the investment climate in South Africa, and it's all under one roof. So, if you're looking to invest in the Western Cape and South Africa, look no further than the Invest SA One-Stop Shop in Cape Town. It's non-stop investment help.
Thank you so much, Salman. And I guess this is the chance to bring the panel together for a bit of a discussion. I think this is kind of a question that I have personally and addressed to everyone. There's quite a few incentives and programs that are on offer if you're a business in the health tech sector and you're just looking to get started. What would be your first step? I'm going to nominate you, Rashid, to try and answer that.
I'm just being a good panelist, putting my camera on. I'm assuming I'm going to be joined by some of the others. So you're saying what's the first step? Is that what you, I'd say the first steps go to Salman. You just knock on the door of the OSS. And then he tells you what's the next step. Salman?
Thanks.
That's what
thanks.
you said, right? That's your video. That's your pitch.
Exactly. So look, I can't say whether at a national level the DTI has a health tech specific incentive per se. But of course, there are incentives at a national and a provincial and a local level that may be applicable to general operations for the health tech / pharmaceutical industry. So I mean, the DTI, for example, has got the Black Industrial Scheme incentive, which looks to fund up to 40% of the capex requirement of either a greenfield opportunity or of an acquisition by previously disadvantaged individuals or groupings into an incumbent firm. There's also I think what would probably be applicable to the industry here is the R&D tax incentive, where SARS has partnered with the Department of Science and Technology to give back a portion of your, or at least to relieve you from a portion of your tax liability. My understanding is that that can be up to 150% on activities related to R&D, and that's a retrospective claim going back 5 years. There are other incentives. I don't want to hog the mic. I think Rashid did mention some of the support you can get from provincial government in terms of interns and seaters and so forth. And then of course the city of Cape Town, for example, in Atlantis, has got load curtailment and also development incentive grants, which I think Lance did cover briefly in his session. So I don't know if my colleagues want to touch on that, but if there are any further questions on that, I'm happy to take that offline. Thank you.
Desiree, I can just briefly say there's two. I mean, so Western Cape is very privileged. It's got two special economic zones. The Saldanha Special Economic Zone, which a lot of people don't know is a tax-free zone. So if you set up to produce there, you could actually import certain items, produce an item for export, beneficiate it, and it can leave the country tax-free without paying. And it's a huge opportunity if people want the opportunity to work in that space. And then of course the Atlantis SEZ, Special Economic Zone, has very specific focus, and particularly in manufacturing. And again, maybe Lance can comment on exactly the benefits of that region, but it's a special zone, and it's again about interfaces. I mean, where biotech interfaces with green technology, for example. I know that there's an emphasis on green tech for Atlantis, but there's no reason why all these things can't interface, bio, tech, and green. And when they interface, that's when the magic happens. That's when you get that sweet spot for me, which would work very well in Atlantis. Hey, Lance.
Yeah, thanks, Rashid. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Atlantis SEZ we're extremely excited about, and for my sins, I'm also on the board of that. And we are busy actually starting to look at the first investments going into the Atlantis SEZ. And as Rashid has said, its focus is very much on the clean tech sector. So in order to qualify, you have to demonstrate that either your processes are extremely energy efficient and are clean tech, or what you are manufacturing is in fact clean tech as well. But I think that there is definitely synergies with the health tech sector, and I'm sure that there will be a number of companies that could possibly qualify for those incentives if they are interested in locating in Atlantis. So we'd definitely be open to discussions with any potential companies that wish to set up some kind of a manufacturing plant in Atlantis. Thanks.
We have two questions in. I think this one's probably the best one to go with, just following on from what was discussed. So with the health tech sector being very complex with a range of stakeholders responsible for different roles, what is the Western Cape's approach to assisting the ease of doing business for the sector? How are they driving collaboration for health challenges?
I'll just start by saying, in terms of approach, I'll give you an example. When the agri-export sector have phytosanitary challenges, or they have a particular challenge, we can both pick up the phone. Often you may not know who to speak to, but we could pick up the phone with someone at the Department of Agriculture, either provincially or nationally, and say, hey, what is the delay? What seems to be the problem? Sometimes ease of doing business challenges can be solved like that. The other way is you actually have to get your lawyers onto you, get your legal people onto it, get the experts around the table, and start saying, what's the stumbling block? What's the actual rule that needs to change? So I personally am not aware of what the particular health tech challenges are. If there's a particular example, we can workshop it here. But we literally have those two approaches, either by picking up the phone and calling the right person and then chasing it, or setting about to change a particular policy. And that will be the more proactive and less reactive approach. That's just from my perspective. And our red tape reduction unit, our ease of doing business, remains on standby for those kind of inquiries. We have a call line, but at this level, you guys as a large business, you shouldn't have to just call the helpline. You should be able to reach out to Salman, reach out to someone in the team and say, this is my challenge, sit down and we can help look at how we tackle it,
Yeah, great. And now moving a bit to export. So I think once you've managed the process of setting your production and you're ready to look to international markets. A question we have is, how many export training courses are there each year and how many companies can attend?
So we, at the moment, obviously due to COVID, we offer the export training programs online. We usually ran about 3 a year, but this is one of the pluses of COVID for us. We've actually managed to do a lot more. We at the moment busy with our 6th one since COVID started. It's all done online, 7 sessions in the morning from 9 till about 1 o'clock. And also the other benefit is that there's actually an unlimited number of companies that we can now take on board in comparison to physical space where you are limited by numbers. So on that note, the next session will now be in February, and we can distribute the invitation and dates post this conversation.
Great. I think Salman, you'd like to add something?
Yeah, if with your permission, if I could just go back to the original or the first question rather that Rashid responded to. I think Rashid makes very important excuse me, very important points, right? So from our side, just to carry on to what Rashid was saying, is we can offer 2 types of support. The one is firm level support, and I think Desiree, your team will know from hosting the Cape Health Tech Week at the One Stop Shop how that looks. So individual firms who may require the assistance of regulators one-on-one have got that luxury of through the One Stop Shop. Even through the COVID period, we've helped 20 companies across sectors, stimulating about 1.6 billion rand worth of investment through Wesgro's investment promotion team. Secondly, is definitely industry level support. So a few years ago, my colleague Amanda Chaya assisted health manufacturing companies set up or get an industry cluster incentive from the DTI, because we understood at that point the need of collaboration in the sector, and we responded to that need. So again, if there are industry level issues that need to be sorted out, impacting a number of firms, we can come in partnership with the red tape reduction unit, sit down with key industry players, understand the need of the industry and how we can unblock that particular challenge and push forward from there. So again, our support is certainly with the sector, and we're happy to take the conversation forward.
That's good to hear. I have a few questions, but we've got a few coming in that I think might be best to address first. The first one is, I want to start exploring exports for my health tech product, but not sure which markets are the best. Can Wesgro assist me in identifying better markets to start with?
Okay, so it's identifying markets. Yes, certainly we can do so. We also have within Wesgro a team of economists, which will certainly be able to help you with market research. We have a couple of country fact sheets, as well as sector fact sheets. That is a start. I would suggest that for any person that wants to explore export markets, it's quite vital that you start with the initial desktop research, because that kind of already starts to inform you of what is out there, and then top up your research with the economic research that we offer. And if any person is interested in that, you're welcome to contact us. And just also to mention that that is some of the elements that we cover in the training. So for any, whether you're new in exports or want to explore exports, and we even find that people who's been in exports for a while come onto the program, because most of the time businesses start exporting and they do self-learning. So the training actually helps companies to just formalize the understanding of export. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, and I will add that there should be some information that you can start with on the Wesgro website. We do have a research team that's been quite busy, so you should find a starting point there. The next question, with the African Free Trade Agreement and with an enormous business opportunity, especially in engineering and exports of engineering and electronics products, is there any national or provincial structure that supports the South African business dealing with African countries?
So just to add another thing to the previous question about market research, we also run we've got access to a program called the Decision Support Model. So based on your HS code, so for every product that you want to export, you have to know your HS code. It's an international code that's understood by all countries and all customs to explain your product. So based on your HS code, we are able to pull data informing you where your specific product is going to globally. So that's another support that we can give. And then based on the second question, we've got within the export unit, we've got different country managers, people looking after different parts of the world, and we've got a very strong Africa desk. I would suggest that I'll share my email and I'll share the manager for the Africa desk, Michael Gamu, and he would be the ideal person to assist you, going through the process of how to go about doing the business in Africa around, and particularly structuring yourself around the trade agreement.
Thank you. Just one more question here.
Desiree, could I just add to that one? I mean, one of the action, the raison d'etre, the reason why Wesgro exists is to support businesses and take them abroad. And so I just wanted to remind people that in the past, you would literally be taken into market. These days, post-COVID, you can even do that virtually. So just to remind people, if you've got a business and you know your potential product is West Africa, it's as physical as that. It's about physically showcasing your product abroad and applying to Wesgro for that kind of direct support, literally taking you to market. Because for us, the KPA for me as the provincial government for Wesgro is how many rands of investment did you land? How many jobs did you create? So we perfectly, your question answers my need to hit my KPIs. And I don't mean it in a funny way. Literally, you tell me you've got a product that you think you have a market for, and we need to bring those two together. And Wesgro is the agency that's set up to do exactly that, either virtually or physically by taking you to market when we can all travel again safely.
Yeah. Thanks, that's a good thing to note. The question, I'm interested in expanding my business to a new premises. How would I go about doing this using the support mentioned here?
Well, maybe I can start on that and just say it's an area of the business that Wesgro and the entire investment ecosystem throws quite a bit of resources behind. We obviously understand just from a contextual level that what drives economic growth and direct investment figures anywhere in the world is your local investment or your domestic direct investment. So it's something that we're very passionate about, something we're very interested in. Wesgro has got a dedicated team looking at what we refer to as business retention and expansion. That team is termed the Business Growth Services team. If you are looking to relocate your operations, be it head office space or industrial/manufacturing space, Wesgro's got 30 years worth of experience in facilitating such transactions to unlock financial and non-financial value for such activities. So if you would be so kind as to send me your contact details, I'll ensure that somebody from the team gets in touch with you and takes this opportunity forward. Thank you.
Thanks. I think to go a bit more broader in terms of the sector, if there was anything that you could change for the sector, what would that be, or what would you be able to assist with?
So just to say again.
I'm asking the tough questions.
So if we could change something in the sector or in the kind of the regulatory environment.
Yes.
Okay. For me, I'm going to start with. I mean, look, I'm not going to go into the sector. I'll definitely speak generally about the regulatory environment. I think there are a few issues at the moment. Front and center is on the international side is definitely immigration. So if you asked me if there was the one thing that I could change right now is the immigration laws of the country, so that we can get highly skilled professionals into a multitude of sectors, and including the health tech industry. That would be me.
Yeah, I think knowledge sharing is quite an important thing for development, which is a part of why we're here. So nicely answered. I think also another big component or another topic that people are interested in is funding support. I think we've lost Lance, so I think I might have to again direct this question to maybe Rashid and Salman. What specific funding opportunities are there, and is there a specific fund for health tech?
From my side, we don't have a specific fund for health tech. We have funds which generally support small businesses, and it's quite a large fund, and it's an open fund, so you can pitch to it whether your business needs help. Generally, it's more the fundamentals that we're trying to fix. So if you want to increase your productivity, or you want to add some tech, you want to add a machine to your operation, you can apply to some of the funds that we have. But it's small scale compared to some of the national funds. And I think more importantly, we try to point you in the right direction to look at to help you access the South African SMME fund, which is a large investment fund looking at high potential businesses, and various other national funds that have been made available. So often as a provincial government, we don't fund businesses like that directly. That's the short answer. There isn't a particular fund in that space.
Thank you. I think we don't have much time left, but I'm sure there's plenty of information that we could still cover. Just in closing, I would like to thank everyone attending today and to all our panelists. And I would just like to keep it open to see if there's any last comments that you'd like to add before we close off.
I'll just close to say that, it's something I say often in my talks is the Darwin's theory. Everyone seems to think it was survival of the fittest that made those certain species survive, but actually it was collaboration and cooperation. And we often, it was a word used much more than survival of the fittest. And that's what it's going to need. It's going to need all of us agencies. TIA, I see there's a colleague from TIA here, and business. So the business, private sector, large businesses, small businesses, and government need to come together to make this thing work. So I would leave that is my final remark, is that, and then just share with us what your challenges are and see how we can help unlock that. Thank you, Desiree.
Salman, I'm going to follow up with you if you'd like to
Sure.
add.
Yeah, I think from my side, just two things. I mean, I think Rashid mentioned it very accurately at the beginning of his discourse, is that, you know, the world has changed, the Western Cape has changed. You know, the fourth industrial revolution is here, and COVID has probably just accelerated the development thereof. So it is about collaboration, and we stand ready to support from that perspective. And I mean, look, DRAT has, for example, got innovation, I think they're called regulatory sandboxes, where you can test, you know, innovative products and disruptive technologies in the market in a safe manner. So that type of support does exist, and I think it's something that should be explored collaboratively. But I think lastly is just a call to action from my side. You know, if there's any investment facilitation that you require on a regulatory or commercial level, the team is certainly ready to assist, and we'll gladly share our details with anybody that requires that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nadine, I'm sure we'll have a few more people interested in the EAP program, but if you could add your final comment.
Yeah, well, I want to say, you know, for any business, it's important that if you're getting into exports, that you should be export ready. Don't just jump into it. Export costs and takes a lot of cash from your business. You need to be ready. We're there to support you through the EAP program. We're there to support you through the export unit. And I think for me, the biggest lesson that I could take out of this whole entire COVID situation is that it is so important to diversify your business. I mean, we've seen how businesses that were just focusing on the export market, how it has impact on them. So yeah, we're out there, we're there to support businesses in exports. Our mentorship programs work wonderfully. You are genuinely more than welcome to contact us. Whatever question it is, we'll assess, we'll take you through that, we'll support you. Our application process for the EAP program, the Export Advancement Program, is a self-assessment application, and it's a wonderful tool because it actually helps you to know upfront and to identify how ready you are and where you are, both for your local market as well as export market. Thank you for the opportunity, Desiree, and for putting this together.
Thank you. Thank you so much to all our speakers today. And I hope everyone who's joined or watching the session has found it very insightful. If you visit the Cape Health Tech Week website, we'll have more information and contact details. Thank you all for joining, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Cape Health Tech Week.
Thank you.